The wind outside the small church in Ontario was cold enough to sting, but inside, Emily's hands were shaking for an entirely different reason. She wasn't the bride, she was the maid of honor for her cousin's wedding. Her little daughter Lily, only 5, sat quietly in the back pew, clutching a small bouquet she had made herself. Everything should have been a beautiful day, but Emily already felt eyes burning into her back. She wasn't new to judgment. Single mothers rarely were. As soon as the ceremony ended, the church filled with soft applause, camera flashes, and warm hugs. Everyone was celebrating, everyone except the few women who whispered about Emily's dress, her life, her situation. She pretended not to hear. She knew better than to respond. But what happened next tore through her like ice. Just as she moved toward the exit to get Lily, Pastor Raymond stepped in front of her. His voice was loud enough that conversations around him fell silent. "Emily, I need you to leave. This is God's house, and your choices have disrespected this sacred day." The room froze. For a moment, Emily didn't understand. My choices," she whispered. He glanced toward her daughter. "You had a child out of wedlock," he declared. "Your presence here is offensive to the sanctity of marriage." The entire church shifted uncomfortably. Some people looked away, others just stared. Emily felt her face burn with humiliation. Lily, frightened, ran to her and grabbed her hand. "Mommy, did we do something wrong?" she asked softly. That broke something inside Emily. She lifted her daughter and held her close, fighting tears as she backed toward the exit. She wanted to defend herself, scream, remind them that life is complicated, that mistakes don't define a person, but the words wouldn't come. She just kept walking. But before she reached the door, a deep voice cut through the room. "Pastor, that's enough." The tone was calm, but powerful enough to make everyone turn. A tall man stepped forward, dressed in a simple navy suit. His face was familiar to everyone, Andrew Sullivan, a well-known real estate millionaire in the area. He had donated to the church many times, funded community shelters, and quietly helped struggling families all over town. People respected him. Some feared him. He walked straight toward Emily and Lily. "No one gets thrown out of a church for being human," he said. "And no child should ever feel unwanted in a place that claims to be built on love." Pastor Raymond stiffened, suddenly unsure. "This is not your matter, Andrew," he muttered. "Actually," Andrew replied, "it is." His voice stayed steady. "Because this woman you're humiliating is the same woman who works 2 jobs to raise her daughter. She's the same woman who volunteers at the community center you pretend to support. She's the same woman who puts kindness into the world even when the world gives her nothing back." Emily looked at him, confused, because she had only met him once months ago when she helped serve food at the shelter. She never knew he remembered her. The church was dead silent as Andrew continued. "If she's not welcome here, then neither am I. And if my contributions aren't aligned with your values, feel free to return every dollar I've donated." Gasps spread across the room. The pastor's face turned pale. The bride's mother covered her mouth. People started whispering, this time not about Emily, but about the man who had just stood up for her. Emily's throat tightened. Lily looked up at Andrew, eyes wide, sensing something good was finally happening. Andrew turned to Emily and offered a small, gentle smile. "You're not alone," he said. "Let me walk you out." Outside, the cold air hit them, but for the first time that day, Emily felt warmth rising in her chest. Not romantic warmth, just the unfamiliar feeling of being protected, of someone finally seeing her as more than her struggles. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "You didn't have to do that." "I did," Andrew replied. "Because if people with power never speak up for those who don't, nothing changes." They talked for a while on the church steps. Lily told him about school, about her love for drawing, about how she wished her mom didn't have to work so much. Andrew listened, not with politeness, but with genuine interest. Before leaving, he handed Emily his card. "If you ever need help, not charity, just support, call me. You deserve better than what happened in there." For weeks after that day, Emily thought about the moment again and again. She didn't call him. She didn't want to rely on anyone. But one evening, after a long shift in an empty fridge, her hands trembled as she pulled out his card. She dialed. Andrew didn't hesitate. He arranged groceries to be delivered. He helped her apply for a better job in one of his offices. He even helped Lily get into an art program. But he never pushed, never made her feel small. He simply stood in the background, consistent, steady, kind. And slowly, Emily's life began to rebuild. Months later, standing outside the same church for another family event, Emily held her head higher. Not because she had money now. Not because she knew a millionaire. But because she had finally realized her worth was never determined by whispers, judgment, or old traditions. As she walked in, Andrew joined her and Lily, smiling. "Ready?" he asked. Emily nodded. "I'm not the same woman who walked out of here last time." Inside that church, people stared again, but this time with respect. They saw a strong mother, a bright child, and a man who believed in them when no one else did. And for the first time in a long time, Emily felt not judged, but whole. Because sometimes, the person who steps forward isn't a hero in a cape. Sometimes it's someone who simply believes in kindness. Someone who lets you know that even when the world turns you away, you still matter. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything.